This Pocono NASCAR 2024 weekend betting recap edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their Pick 8. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Build your own betting model using their AI betting engine. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you asked me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
And there are precious few days to talk racing things here. It is the Sports Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. And I, first of all, would like to thank all of the sponsors that are helping us out today. I'd like to thank Rhythm. I'd like to thank Underdog and all the fine people at
yeah, but Rod, do you have any comment on what happened to your bets?
You know, I want to say that I love you all. Thanks for listening to this show. And yeah, we're just going to continue on to next week and we'll keep going. Love that. Justin already saying didn't get to watch live, but Corey LaJoy's trash. KFB must be seeing a new therapist because old school Kyle would have tore LaJoy a new one.
That's when you are so fed up with everything that you're just like, fuck everything and anything. And you're just like, you know what? No, this is fucking great. I love this shit. This is so fucking wonderful. I love being here. Thanks to everybody. I'm having a great time. See you fucking next week. Like we're on to Indianapolis, and that's Kyle Busch's mentality, which is it's so crazy, right? It's so crazy. It was Atlanta, right? Where he was one of those three cars in the photo finish and Suarez wins, right? And if that would have been Kyle Busch, we'd be talking about right now how he's locked in to the playoffs and just going through a rough stretch, and they just need to figure things out, and it's going to be okay come playoff time. But since that's not the case, it is like the world is on fire. Everything is going wrong for Kyle Busch. Things couldn't possibly be worse. Is there any way for him to get out of this team? Like, it's crazy how much the narrative can change. And almost same thing with Ryan Blaney, because he was one of the three drivers in that picture as well. Then he runs out of gas on the last lap at Gateway. He could have 4 wins right now. Like, and yeah, he's got 2 wins and he is actually locked into the playoffs and things are going great. But like the difference between 2 wins and 4 wins, like he's that close. He's this close and 1 lap of fuel from having 4 wins and everything just being completely like, it is so crazy to me how the narratives just shift so fast in NASCAR and the story shifts so fast of, because if he had won that race at Atlanta, a super speedway, which is just completely, we know what super speedways are, right? And everything about this entire story is completely different for Kyle Busch.
Yeah, it's like that sliding doors thing. If only I would have gotten on that train, because that train would have let me meet the love of my life and we'd have 3 kids. But instead, I'm sitting here with a cardboard box and I'm wondering what happened in my life. And it was that one sliding door. But we'll get back to that in a second. Plus, I'll check in with you guys in the chat. But we want to let you know that our fine friends at the Sports Gambling Podcast are getting you ready for college football with their conference previews. Go tune in now wherever you get your podcast, or, of course, the SGPN app. Dos Flacos talking about cheers, boys. JDK saying it is what it is. And here's the thing about it, too, right? When there's a word that we use in the Army, and it's hua. Hua can mean anything in the world. Kyle just essentially hooed the entire world in the sense that he was like, hey, soldier, how's it going? Hua, which means I love you, or I think you're complete and utter trash. You tell me what it is, because for me, I just said it. You have to interpret it. Kyle just made us interpret exactly what he said, and it's crazy. I love what's going on with Kyle Busch. I love that he didn't even win the race, but he was the first topic of conversation because of just the way that he handled the whole thing. Dos Flacco saying at the risk
a
of being
polarizing figure
in the comment section again, thought it was a great race. Okay,
I'm glad that you're back, Dos Flacos. I'm glad that you survived the week and you're back here with us after we gave you a hard time last week. I don't think that you're necessarily wrong with that take. I really don't. Was there a lot of passing? No. Was it a lot of track position? Yes. But did you know throughout that entire race who was going to win? I don't think you did. I think that there were many different times where it could have been many different people. The strategy element to it, racing isn't always going to be a bunch of passing and a bunch of side by side and a bunch of, sometimes it comes down to other things. And from becoming F1 fans over the last couple of years, we've really learned you have to embrace the strategy, because that's what the race is. It's the race within the race, which is what betting on the race is, right? You're watching the race within the race. And I think that that's exactly what strategy races are. And I think it's fun. I think it's exciting because, there's 8 different drivers could have won this race based off of if their strategy is the one that works. And it was Blaney's number that got called this week, but we get one more caution, or another brake rotor blows, or another engine blows, or Corey LaJoie decides to spin somebody else out again. Then how much different is this? Because Denny was faster, right? Keselowski was coming. He had speed. If it gets bunched back up, they're going to wreck again. We're going to another overtime. When do people start running out of gas? It was never, and we've seen it at Pocono before, you're not safe for winning the race until you get to the checkered flag, right? Oh, Kyle Larson's going to win the race. Oh, Kyle Larson blows a tire and hits the wall. Alex Bowman wins the race. So I thought it was a good race too.
So I thought it was, and so my brother texted me earlier in the evening, and he said, tell Cody that this is why I don't like Pocono, because it gets stretched out. There's not a lot of racing. Strategy is one thing, but racing is passing cars.
Yeah, but what about the last 2 days? We saw really good passing in the trucks and Xfinity races. So I don't know. And like JDK saying strategy is fine and dandy, but 2 tires being better than 4 because the track position just sucks. But is it? Because Keselowski was faster at the end. And yeah, it didn't make a big enough difference for him to get there, but it made somewhat of a difference. Todd Gilliland tried strategy, started 9th, and by turn 1, he was in 19th place. So whatever the hell strategy he tried wasn't working. It maybe wasn't the most exciting race, right? It's not going to be a 90%er on the Gluck poll, but I think it wasn't a bad race by any means. And it was fun, and there were elements of it that make it exciting. And again, sometimes these races are what you make them. And if you keep going, yeah, it was 0 tires. See, exactly. So tires did matter, JDK.
Well, and so, okay, listen, as we look back at this and we think about the entirety of this particular Sunday, because we're going to obviously talk about Sunday first, as we always do, since it's fresh in our mind, especially on these live late Sunday night things. When you look at strategy and we talk about the different types, is all these millions of passes, like a short track, is it sustainable? And is it as exciting as we think it is, or is it just because there's so much action that we make ourselves think that it's exciting? Because suspense, Cody, and this is what makes the difference between a straight out gory horror movie and a suspenseful movie, right? The horror movie, that you're going to see that dude's arm get completely chopped off and the blood spurt from it. And maybe you'll see a neck fall off. A head fall off of the neck. Like, you know that's the stuff you're going to see, right? But in a suspense movie, like the door closes and you hear the chainsaw and you hear the scream, but you don't know if that's a head. You don't know if that's a shoulder. So what? You don't know if we're going to run out of gas. We don't know if 2 tires are going to work. They closed the door on us. We hear the chainsaw. We just don't know what's going to happen.
Well, and then the other thing too is like, had there been a late caution and this does go to overtime, it's completely different because it's going to end up having been a good race because we're going to have a battle at the end. So then do you let the last 3 laps decide whether it was a good race for you or not? Because we've seen that a lot, right? Where it does, it's kind of a boring race, but then we get that late race caution. All of a sudden cautions break cautions and it's chaotic and people like that. And so, I mean, yes, was it the best race ever? No, it wasn't, but it wasn't a horrible race. There was plenty of storylines. I was interested throughout the thing. And we cashed some bets, maybe not all the bets that we wanted to cash, but it was a pretty decent weekend for what we were expecting. And yeah, I don't know. That's just kind of how it is, I guess.
I mean, there's 36 races. Not all of them are going to be ridiculous. There's 400 episodes of this show. Not all of them have been bangers after banger after banger, right? I mean, there's a few.
Speak for yourself, Rod.
There's the ones that Cody hosted that have been the best out of all of them.
Those are the ones that aren't the bangers. But
but again, I mean, you have to find the entertainment value in it however you want. I mean, I know that, like we said, not every race is going to be a 90 on the Gluck poll, but you can make it that way if you look for the good in all of it. So I definitely am a big half class or full guy. You know that. So that's just the way it is. I won't apologize for it ever.
Just the way it is, Rod. Should we start recapping the bets as we kind of keep talking about these races?
We should, but let's first do this. I want to tell you about Underdog Fantasy because I've been dying to do this for a while now. Pick 8 is live. Create entries with up to 8 picks, and Underdog's going to automatically double flex those entries so you can miss up to 2 picks and still win your entry. There's actually a good example of that in the Discord, so make sure you go do that and check that out because had a banger in there as well. With more picks to make an entry and extra ways to win, the excitement is higher than ever. And the best part, you can win up to 325 times your original amount. You can also use specials and boosts now on all flex entries. Cannot wait to make more pick 8s because we're going to use them all over the place when it comes to Indianapolis. So don't miss your chance to try it now before it is gone. Sign up with our promo code RACESGP and to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. It's UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code RACESGPN. Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. And of course, Circa contests have no rake. Circa Millions, pick 5 NFL teams against the spread each week and compete for $6 million, or survive the NFL gauntlet to claim the $10 million prize. Sign up in person at Circa Sports now between now and September 7th and use a proxy to play from anywhere in the world. We even have a deal with footballcontestproxy.com to save you $50 with promo code SGP. Don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet before football? Do not worry. Ultimate Contest Weekend is a great time to go out and hang with Ryan and Sean and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sports book in the world, August 22nd through August 24th. Holy football season right around the corner. Cannot believe it.
Oh, it's coming, Rod. It's almost here. Oh, it's so beautiful. I just cannot wait. Hall of Fame game, I believe, is like a month away. It's like 5 weeks maybe. We are so freaking close to football. The fantasy leagues are starting to fire back up.
I'm halfway through my Scott Fish draft. I love it.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Love it. Dos Flacos also loves my Sheamus reference. Yes, I did. And then Nick, love the way we sell the races, make them great in hindsight. Hey,
that's what we're here for.
If nothing else, we can paint the pretty picture when it's all said and done. So speaking of painting a pretty picture, my daughter, I had to call her into the room for the last 10, 15 laps of the races. I said, watch as Ryan
You're lucky you didn't Rick Allen that.
No, that's true. That's true. Well, okay, I did wait for a couple of laps in when I knew he was going to be going.
You got to wait till the checkered flag's flown and then pause it and say, come in here, kid.
Yeah. Hey, come here. Ryan. Yeah. She watched Ryan Blaney win at Pocono.
Hey, come on, Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney blows a tire into the wall.
This is not good. No, but actually it's funny because they had the picture of Ryan Blaney's fiance. And first of all, my youngest was like, get out of there. You don't, that's my guy.
That's my man.
But secondly, she was like, I feel you though, because I'm over here with my head in my hands waiting for Ryan Blaney to cross the checker finish. So yeah, congrats to him. Hey, that 12 car, we did not have him at all factored into this, and he just did everything right strategy wise.
And just he continues to be so consistent. He's the best Ford each and every week. We don't give him enough respect for that. He's kind of he's in that spot where like his number's never great enough that you really want it, but you should consider him more often. And so, but I mean, yeah, we're a lap of fuel and a couple of inches away from 4 wins for the defending champion. Like, he is on the scene. JDK saying Ford somehow 3 cars in the top 10, 4th and 11th place. Is this the tide turning on Ford's not being good at intermediates? I will say a lot of that was strategy, right? I think the Toyota still had the best cars on the day. But we've started to see it recently, right? Kansas, Charlotte. We've seen the beginning of Ford figuring some stuff out. And I think that coming into Indianapolis this next week, might talk about that again. Michigan's right around the corner. Ford's always good there. So I would expect to kind of continue to see Ford, continue to go forward as we continue to go. That being said, Ron, my first bet was a matchup of Fords. I had Noah Gragson over Chase Briscoe. I didn't think Chase Briscoe was going to have a very good day. 15th place. Okay. Not the best day ever, but not a bad day. Noah Gragson was out very early in this race in 37th. I'll be honest, I was in the Despicable Me 4 movie at the time of this. Of course, I was watching the race on my phone, but with no sound at the time, so I don't even remember exactly what happened to Gragson at that point. But I looked down, and his car was wadded up, and I was like, God damn it, there goes that bet. So that's how it goes.
Yeah, Gragson's car just stepped out on him. I mean, there was nobody around him.
Was that it?
Just stepped out on him. He got loose and tagged the wall. He even said it himself, too. It was like, I don't even know. I was loose, and all of a sudden I lost it, and there it went. And yeah, I mean, nobody got into me. He said, I just tore the car up. And he, like Kyle Busch, I'm just happy that he was there.
That's going to happen. And unfortunately, he finishes last. So that bet was cooked pretty early. Despicable Me 4, by the way. Good movie. If you got kids, take them. There's a lot of adult laughs to be had on that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even if you don't have kids, still take them or still go, because it's a really good movie.
I'm definitely gonna be one of those people that still watches these movies even when I don't have a kid anymore.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean,
I
don't have a kid, but when she's not a kid anymore, I guess I should say. Jeez, I'm not like planning on disowning her or anything.
Like, get out of here! I don't need you anymore. Yeah. All right. Well, I was not in Despicable Me 4 this time, although I did try to go to a comic book convention. Long story short, just didn't go. So I came back and was able to finish the race. But I didn't need to finish the race for this one. Gibbs over Elliott. Cody.
This bet, after qualifying, this bet looked like it was like, okay, this looks pretty good, right?
First stage, it looked good. After midway through the second stage, this looked good, but strategy got him off pace. I don't know what the hell happened that he sunk like a rock after. I mean, literally was starting up in the front and then got squirrely and everybody passed him and then couldn't and then of course the pit penalty got him out there too. Him, Larson, a couple other cars that got dinged for pit penalties, and then the engine just blew up. Like it was done.
And there's JGR, TRD. Let's figure something out. We've had a few of these here lately, right? Denny Hamlin's at Sonoma. I think Christopher Bell had one the week before. Didn't somebody else have a problem at Sonoma? Was there 2 JGR engines that day? Like, yeah, because I think no, I don't remember. But either way, there's been a lot of blown engines, which is not something we see in today's NASCAR anymore. Blown engines 10, 15 years ago and farther back, obviously, were a very common thing. It just happened, and that's how it goes, right? But the way the engines are now, the way that they test them and have all this going on, like, we don't see that as much anymore. But there's been a lot from JGR, TRD here lately, so a little bit concerned about that for sure. But yeah, it sucks for Gibbs, obviously. But Chase Elliott, man, he was fast. I would say he probably had the second best car to Denny Hamlin today. I mean, he was very fast. Gets the pit penalty, obviously, late that costs him a lot, but still fights back, finished 9th, which on a day where passing wasn't easy was definitely impressive for sure. But man, if Gibbs could have finished this race, maybe he would have still been inside the top 10 there and finished ahead of Elliott.
I would like to think that he would have tried to find his way back there. That car was fast. That car had stepped away from the field in that first stage, and 21 laps he led overall in this race.
I was kicking myself at the start, not playing him in DFS. I didn't play him, and I'm like, he's going to lead this whole entire first stage. And then obviously ended up not being a good play because of the motor letting go. But this looked pretty good going into the start of the race. And then, like you said, after those first 21 laps or so.
Yep. So Gibbs did not finish better than Elliott. Damn it.
That'll happen. All right. Bubba Wallace got it done for us. Top 10 plus 140. Also tossed out his under 15.5 finishing position at minus 140 over on Caesars as an alternative option. Play them both, whatever you wanted to do. Both of these did hit. He holds on and finishes in 10th place. Up and down day for Bubba, kind of all over the board throughout the day. But big news for him is the playoff deal, right? He is the one car below the cutoff, but Ross Chastain getting wrecked out of this race. Ty Gibbs having issues in this race. Both big deals for him. Now he's only 27 points below Ross Chastain. 5 races left in the regular season. 27 points can easily be made up, especially in chunk races like this. So, yeah, great day for Bubba Wallace. And his kind of rebounding again from the issue last week at the end of the race and getting the penalty and everything. And I believe he didn't get any stage points, I guess. So I was thinking he did, but no stage points for him. But 10th place finish, strong day, definitely a great points day. Cashes both these bets, the top 10 and the under 15.5. So we'll take it.
Hey, and listen, by the end of this race, this looked more like an F1 race than a NASCAR race. 24 cars finished this race altogether. 25th through 37th, all out on a crash on one instance, the big one at Pocono. And then we had the overheating, the suspension, the fuel pump, like JJ Ellie's fuel pump, Daniel Hemrick's suspension, and then Cody Ware's overheating, Ty Gibbs' engine, like all these guys out. So only 24 cars actually finished this race.
That's got to be the least, it's got to be the least amount, maybe not leave out super speedways, obviously, right? Because we know how those races go. But like on a normal track outside of a super speedway, I feel like we've not had only 24 cars finish the race in quite some time. That's a lot of attrition in this race.
That was a lot of attrition. Josh Berry caught up in some of that as well. Started 5th, man. This top 10 bet was looking fantastic. Josh Berry running around where he should. The only time he really wasn't in the top 10 was on the strategy part of it. But, man, let me tell you, for him to end up finishing 20th in this race, first of all, was a miracle, to be honest with you, for he wasn't completely wrecked out of this one. But, yeah, I mean, you want to talk about just disappointments and disappointments. He got caught up in the big one in a little small way. He led 8 laps in this race. At plus 450, this top 10 had everything going for it. Josh Berry was even as high as, I think, 6th or 7th when he had not necessarily, because he would start at 5th, but he had dropped out a little bit into the back end of the top 10, but found his way back up again to maybe 6th or 7th before he got, I don't know, man. I'm so frustrated. There's so many of these bets that had big legs, and then they came crashing down, which is your next.
Well, and then it sucks because like he goes on and qualifies 5th, right? So his number for a top 10 was nowhere near plus 450. So you already get you've got this great number you're sitting on. And it's like, okay, here we go. And then things go wrong. And they ended up having that really long pit stop under green flag, which killed them at one point.
18 seconds, Cody. That was a
Valtteri Bottas style
pit
stop there. So that really was kind of the dagger in their day, because I think at that point, God, what didn't he come in? He was running top 5, I think, at that time.
Well, he was just outside of the top 10 at that point, because he was coming in to do the pit strategy thing. He was going to undercut everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
And then
and obviously doesn't work out. So that sucks. Neither of these top 10s worked out. Noah Gragson, we talked about him already, right? Gets wrecked early. He was 4-1 for a top 10. Todd Gilliland 6-1. I don't know if Gilliland was ever really going to have a chance. He started back, where did he start? 33rd. So, I mean, bad qualifying effort from Gilliland, and then really wasn't ever in the mix. I mean, if you tell me at the end of the day you're only going to have 24 cars left, well, you feel pretty good about any longer shot top 10s, right? Because there's only 13 other cars to beat to get inside, or 14 other cars to beat to get inside the top 10 there. But, he got taken out I believe he was in that Kyle Busch wreck there. So innocent victim of that, but would he have been top 10? Probably not. It just didn't really seem like a Gilliland day. So kind of breaks that streak of really nice runs that Gilliland was on.
I will say there were points where he was in that strategy, had him in the top 10, and who knows if he could have held on to it on a decent part of the strategy.
Well, and that's true because he was ninth right on that one, which I mentioned earlier. But I quickly noticed him drop down the board it was one of those deals where it's like you just watch him drop on the side, and you're like, God damn it, come on, this was your chance to be up there. And then obviously the Busch wreck happened right after that, and he was caught up in that.
Yeah, unfortunately, this one had legs and then it got cut off as well. We'll talk about the rest of our bets in a second, but let's say first about Rhythm. If you're betting on player props, then you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm is the go-to sports betting tool that transforms complex data into actionable rights, empowering bettors with smarter, data-driven decisions. Unlike other platforms, Rhythm combines advanced predictive analytics with an intuitive user experience, making betting both easy and enjoyable. Rhythm's predictive models were born from those big, fat, juicy brains of MIT data scientists and quants with over 3 years of data that help drive you to better AI-backed betting decisions. Rhythm predictions have been red hot for WNBA and golf, so go claim that 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Yeah, so your top 10 bets had legs. So did mine. Eric Jones, top 10. And we talked about this too on the betting episode where we were like, listen, we're throwing out a lot of top 10s. We know that. We know that not every one of these guys is going to start or finish inside of the top 10. But at one point, every single one of these drivers were inside of the top 10, Eric Jones included, plus 450. Eric Jones found his way into the top 10 for a better part of the latter part of this race. In fact, he finished 10th at the end of stage 1. He finished 5th at the end of stage 2. I know strategy played a big part in that, but Eric Jones was sniffing around that top 10. And I mean, again, the fact of the matter is he probably should have completely finished inside of the top 10. He finished 14th overall on the day, but look, I was impressed with Eric Jones, and I had talked about the fact that he's whatever it is about this track in particular, he seems to know how to get around it. And he started in 23rd place, right? He had a 23rd place qualifying effort, and strategy wise and sort of speed wise, because once you get there, you got to stay there, right? We know that you get there through strategy, but you got to be able to stay there. And he was able to stay in the mix for a better part of the day. So, or at least when he was there. Yeah, I just wish he would have been able to hang tough and hang into it. So unfortunately he wasn't. He finishes 14th, only 4 spots outside of the top 10 at plus 450. You still like that? I'd still do it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah, for a guy that's plus 450 to be within 4 spots, you'll take it. He definitely looked a little better, giving me some hope when we get to Darlington in a few weeks that I'll be able to place my yearly Eric Jones in the Southern 500 bet. So hopefully that will be the case. I tossed out Ricky Stenhouse and Austin Dillon, top Chevrolets, both 100 to 1. Both of these guys were involved in wrecks. Ricky Stenhouse was involved in the Kyle Busch crash. And then actually Dillon not involved in a wreck, but he was 23rd of the 24 cars running. So not a good day for him either. But Rod, I played 2 of these other things. They were correlating bets. You thought maybe one would help the other. That was the case. Took the number of Toyotas in the top 10 over 3.5 at minus 140. That did hit. Also took the number of Chevrolets under 3.5 at minus 105. That did hit as well. So for Toyota, Denny Hamlin in 2nd, Reddick in 6th, Truex in 8th. Bubba Wallace held on to 10th to round it out for us. Got those 4 in there that you needed to go over 3.5. Obviously Ty Gibbs was up there for a while as well. So, it was nice that he was running good. Truex was up there for a bit. I guess Truex ended up. Truex was in 8th place. So, but yeah, the Toyotas got it done. And then for the Chevrolet part of it, right? Bowman, Byron in 3rd and 4th, then Elliott in 9th, and that was it until Larson in 13th place. Larson had his chance, right? I thought for sure he was going to win the race when he comes out first out of the pit stop, but he was speeding. Same with Elliott. Now Elliott drove back up there into it, but outside of that, I mean, Bowman at the end kind of maybe had something for Blaney for a bit there, and Byron was kind of just like so all day. Like I don't like did he ever leave 4th place? He started in 2nd, 4th in both stages, finished the race in 4th. I don't think he led any laps. Like he just was kind of there. So I guess that's a positive for as bad as things have been going for them. But outside of that, Chevrolet is really kind of disappointing. Obviously, quite a few got wrecked with Chastain and Stenhouse and Busch and Zane Smith, who started the race well and everything. But yeah, outside of that, Chevrolets didn't look that great, which is kind of what we thought would be the case. So number of Toyotas in the top 10 over 3.5 cashed. Chevys under 3.5 also cashed. Correlating bets there, which was really nice.
Well, you talked about Larson as one of those Chevys. I had him in this next bet. I had Larson and Denny both in the top 3. Well, one of them held up there into the deal, and it wasn't the one that I was hoping for. I knew Denny would. I told you Denny was going to finish in the top 3 for sure. I thought Denny was going to win this race. Denny probably should have won this race. There was points in that where obviously he led. Denny Hamlin.
Why? I don't fully understand it, Rod. You stay out and you take the playoff point, and I get it. I get that one playoff point feels great, and it's awesome. But are we not here to win fucking races, which, by the way, is 5 playoff points? What? You could win this race, Denny Hamlin. I'll be interested to hear their comments or his comments on the podcast this week on Actions Detrimental, because they would have won that race if they would have played the strategy to win the race, but they didn't play the strategy to win the race, which is just disappointing.
It's very disappointing. He led 31 laps of this race, finished second in stage 2, finished second in stage 1, won stage 2. And you're right. I mean, was the strategy call away from being able to win this race? He wasn't chasing Ryan down. Ryan had a pretty good, I know Denny said that there wasn't enough laps, right? That's what it said. Oh, it's not long enough race. Well, if you play it right, it didn't have to be long enough, and he didn't play it right. Obviously, he had one of the most dominant cars of the day. Just didn't matter what was going on. He started 4th, ended up finishing in 2nd place. Obviously, that's a top 3 finish. And you talked about Larson. Larson was just kind of a no-show. He was in the top 5 at spurts, but
if he would have got that track position, I think Kyle Larson would have won the race, because you weren't going to be able to pass him at that point. He would have been in first place. And I don't think anybody would have passed him, and he probably would have won the race, but obviously speeding. Cost his day. But yeah, he definitely wasn't the best car on the day, which is another, that's why we don't bet Larson very often, because he's always the favorite. His numbers are always so short, and this is the kind of stuff that happens. It's dumb mistakes. It's stupid things, and man, I don't know. And your brother with his being old again, get off my lawn. I'm too old. Stage racing is stupid. Yes and no, because as an old school NASCAR fan, I get it. We didn't used to have stages, but do you like the days where Richard Petty won the race by 7 laps over 2nd place? I mean, if we didn't have stage breaks to bunch these fields up, like Denny Hamlin probably would have won. There would have been 5 cars left on the lead lap, and Denny Hamlin wins like. You thought this race was boring. How fucking boring would it be if we don't stop the whole thing? I don't know. I think stage racing has been a good thing for NASCAR. Andrew checking in. Damn, I missed the start off to go back later. We haven't addressed your comment yet, because we haven't got to the Xfinity race. So we'll go back to it, Andrew. So hang out with us. We're getting to the Xfinity race here next.
We are indeed. You had one. Yeah, you had a bet that you took all the way.
Car lift on Tyler Reddick. He finishes in 6th place. Not ideal for the car lift. Luckily, we did hit the finishing position under 8.5, minus 140 on Caesars. Missed the top 5, missed the top 3, missed to win the race. I don't think he was ever going to win the race. I mean, I don't know. Just so, right? Starts 7th, 3rd by the end of stage 1, but then kind of hung out, kind of didn't hang out, went to the back, went to the front, and man, I'm feeling so good about the championship tickets on Reddick. His number's still been good up until this week. It's probably going to continue to be good. Get it if you don't have it already. He's 3rd in the standings for the season, 7th in the playoff standings, so a little farther back, but they've been consistent. They've been hanging around there. Just haven't had that like winning speed here lately, which kind of sucks. But yeah, unfortunately, not the best race by Tyler Reddick. Hit the under 8.5, so we somewhat got some of that. But rest of the car lift fell over and didn't work this week.
The jack did not work. We had to go back and get another jack, and unfortunately, it wasn't in time, and we cost spots. So, just like this next bet, where I had the total number of odd cars in the top 10 at over 5.5. Well, that number hit exactly 5. It was Denny Hamlin. It was Tyler Reddick. It was Martin Truex Jr. It was Chase Elliott. It was Bubba Wallace. And the sixth driver was sitting right there in 11th, Chris Buescher. Unfortunately, could not make it into the top 10 to bump one of these even numbers out. So that didn't hit. I think Kyle Larson would have been the one that would have made this a number, the sixth. He would have been the sixth driver if he wouldn't have gotten that speeding penalty on pit road. So I blame Kyle Larson for this bet not hitting.
I would blame Kyle Larson for that as well, Rod. I had Buescher as an outright 30-1, finishes in 11th. He never really had a shot throughout the day. I mean, he did lead some laps, have one of those strategies, but he needed a lot more fuel than the other guys. I don't think he was ever really, I don't know that was ever going to work for him to get it done. Bubba at 33-1, he finishes in 10th place. So you get two 30-1s or higher in the top 11. You don't hate that, but I don't really feel like either of these guys had too much of a chance to win this race, which is unfortunate. But, again, if you go in telling me it's for sure going to be a strategy race, it's going to be track position. I don't hate having those guys at those numbers, and it would probably take them again.
You know who I didn't hate having at their numbers? Denny Hamlin at 4.5-1, who could have, should have win this race, finished second. And then Ty Gibbs at 17-1 puts it on the pole. You think to yourself, how did I get 17-1?
What was he, 7-1 this morning or something?
Yeah.
I mean, the number was shot. So this was a great call by you. Obviously, it doesn't work out at the end of the day, but it was still a good number. Toyotas were fast, which we thought they would be. The Gibbs cars were fast, which we thought they would be. He was fast, which we thought he would be. Obviously, it just doesn't pan out how we had hoped.
It does not pan out how we hoped, but for Ryan Blaney, it panned out exactly how he hoped. So congratulations to him for winning the Pocono race, taking home that Tricky Triangle trophy. And we move on now to Indianapolis with the Cup Series. So let's flash back to Saturday night and talk about the Xfinity race, which actually was a damn good race, in my opinion. There was, so many good things that went on in this.
As it always is, Rod. If you are not watching Xfinity Series races, you're missing out big time. Xfinity is the best racing every single week, which is not how it should be, but that's how it is.
Well, competitive, the trophy goes to the Cup Series. Exciting, it goes to the Xfinity Series, and just flat out fun goes to the Truck Series.
Yes, agreed on all accounts, Rob.
But yeah, so congratulations to Cole Custer. Cole Custer got it done in that race, winning in that 00 car. Cody, I told you I wanted to give him, right? I told you I wanted to find a way to get in on him.
I want to give him every week, but he's like Ryan Blaney, where he's just consistently good. He's always hanging out, but he's never good enough that makes you want to take him, and he just wins on random shit. And it's like, he's one of those those guys are almost identical, Blaney and Custer, because they're always there. Like, they're always going to be in the top 5 at the end of the day. And maybe you just start betting them top 5 every single week, because it probably is how it goes. But I don't know. Just he's frustrating.
I believe it's time to address Andrew's concerns, Cody. I believe it's that time.
It is that time. Andrew was in well before the show started with his first comment. Fuck Sam Mayer and Sammy Smith. All my homies hate Sam and Sam. I think a lot of people share that sentiment with you. On the Sam Mayer side of things, I will say he's won me a lot of money, so I'm not willing to take him and put him, in the. I believe he was been requested to be on the bleep button, but he's not to that point yet. Sammy Smith, he's not either, just because we don't really talk about him enough. But I did have Sammy Smith over Sheldon Creed. Sheldon Creed had not been good on the bigger tracks this season. He goes out and starts on the pole. I was not concerned at that point. I was like, this is actually perfect, because you're going to get more matchups against him, and you'll be able to fade him even more. He ends up holding on for 4th place. He wasn't great throughout the day, right? Like, he immediately fell back from the start, 10th place in stage 1, which there was some flipping and stuff going on there as well, but he just wasn't really hanging out up there. Kind of recovers for 4th place. I wasn't overly impressed with him, but Sammy Smith ends up in 9th place. That's exact. I told you he was going to finish in 8th place. I believe if you go back and listen to the pod, I say he's probably going to finish about 8th place. He finished in 9th. That's what I was hoping from him. Sheldon Creed, unfortunately, once again doesn't hold up his end of the deal, Rod, and finishes too good. So that's unfortunate.
Unfortunate, but Sheldon Creed to actually find some sea legs this week was pretty much what we didn't expect to happen, and we knew it was going to happen at some point. We just didn't think it was going to.
He's been running well, and he's been having good finishes, but it'd been on shorter tracks, been on road courses, street circuits. He hadn't been good on the bigger tracks earlier this season, so you kind of wondered if that would be the case. But obviously, momentum wins in this scenario, Rob.
Yep, momentum definitely wins. Not in this scenario where Jesse Love and AJ Allmendinger win our matchup. I went against my heart and took Love over AJ. The fan in me is thrilled at this outcome. The better in me is not, in that it did not come through. AJ Allmendinger rallied for a sixth-place finish. That was a spirited sixth-place finish from AJ Allmendinger, I want to say. He started in 10th place. That man was running on sheer adrenaline the entire time in that race.
When he saved that car from wrecking
100%
in front of the entire field, like drifting sideways, no caution. So he ends up having to come in to get tires and still recovers for a sixth-place finish. What a day by AJ Allmendinger.
So I'm saying it was the Pocono drift, and he definitely held on to that one. And you have to love it. Jesse Love starts in the back due to unapproved adjustments. You just feel bad for the guy, right? I mean, he was here and there. He was everywhere. There was parts of this where he was ahead because of strategy of AJ, but AJ consistently was good. And like the Pocono drift part of it sent AJ back, but AJ fought back again, put himself back up there through strategy. And so this was just destined to be AJ's day. He heard it. And as Michael Jordan said, I took it personally. And AJ was like, if my biggest fan is out there picking against me, I got to go prove him wrong. And I believe I even said it in the betting episode, Cody, if he ends up beating AJ or if he ends up beating Love, I'm not going to hate it because I love it. But
it's that emotional hedge, Rod. It's
yep.
worked for me for years against the Huskers. So usually I just win the bet, but every once in a while they win a game too. So that's great. I had Ryan Truex over Sheldon Creed in a continuation of fading Creed. Truex started at the back because he had, I don't remember what the deal was. He qualified bad, right? I think
Truex went to the back for unapproved adjustments too.
Yeah,
it was
but
him
he also didn't qualify well. I don't even remember I don't remember if he had a problem on the qualifying. I can't remember. But either way, yeah, I mean, and he never was really in this race. Like, he ends up in 19th, and he never had a shot at this, which is just, I don't know. I really kind of expected more out of him being in that car, and I don't really remember him being up front ever at any point. So
Truex was never around.
Yeah, Truex wasn't. So just disappointing day by Truex. And Creed, again, got it done. I tried to play the when will Sheldon Creed suck, but it didn't. And Andrew wants to know if the Alfredo top 5 was an official play or just a Discord. It was an official Discord play for sure. By the way, if you're not in the Discord, you should be in the Discord. sg.pn/Discord, Rod. That place gets busier and busier every week, which I'd love to see. More of you continue to join it. It's a great place. You guys are coming up with some great bets. I think it was JDK tossed out. Alfredo top 5 was like 90-1 or something. Just crazy. And he came up with all these reasons. You got to take it. And this had a fucking chance to hit until very late in this race. I mean, he ends up 14th, which for 90-1, I think that was a number, was still really good value. But he had a legit shot at finishing in the top 5 until very late in this race. So, yeah, shout out to those guys. It doesn't hit, but man, if you're not over there, you're going to miss out on shit like that because there's, and that's just one example, but there's a lot of other good things. And you come here, right, for our picks and our analysis and how we look at things and how we're interpreting things and what we think is going to happen, which is what we're here for. But there's other people in that Discord that are paying just as much attention. Guys like JDK are in there with spreadsheets he's creating and all this stuff, and he's looking at different trends and noticing different things, and he'll go back and watch the entire race the week of. I don't have time for that, Rod. I would love to, but I just don't have time for it. But he'll go back and do it. And hey, I noticed this that's not on the stat sheet and stuff like that. So There's a lot, and he's just one of the many great people we have over there. So make sure if you're not over there, get over there because you're missing out. And it's a continuation of the show, and it's all of you guys also putting your minds together, and it's a really great place to be. So yes, great plug for the Discord there, Andrew. Thank you for that.
I love how you said it's a continuation of this show. It most certainly is, because this show happens every day, yes, but the other 23 hours a day that it's not happening, that living, breathing Discord is the place to be. All right. I had Parker Kligerman as a top 5 car at 12-1. Parker Kligerman was a top 5 car at certain spots of this race toward the end, ends up finishing in 8th place. Austin Hill and AJ, I love AJ. I'm so glad that AJ finished 6th, but I was pissed because AJ passed Kligerman there at the end, as well as did Austin Hill. Parker Kligerman, through strategy, through everything he did right, could have had himself a top 5 day. Unfortunately, he doesn't, but started 15th. And I'm telling you right now, Parker Kligerman, I said it in the betting episode, there's just something about this track that he does well, and he finds his way into, and this, I think I also believed, I said, I wish we had top 10 bets, because I would hammer a Parker Kligerman top 10 at 6-1, right? That's kind of what I was after, because it's usually half of what it is for a top 5 bet, but Parker Kligerman was a poster child for a top 10 bet, which is what I wanted him at. But I still said I'd take him as a top 5 just in case.
Real quick, back to the Discord part of things, right? We didn't get top 10s because we don't normally get top 10s, but MGM did have one top 10 bet they offered. It was on SVG. It was 9-1. It was shared in the Discord. I wouldn't have known about it if it wasn't for the Discord. A bunch of people got on that, which was cashing until very late in the race when Sam Mayer fucked him up. That's why Andrew, which I believe Andrew is Shandy in the Discord, by the way.
Yes.
I could be wrong, but yes, I think I'm trying to get all the names paired up and the same. But yeah, that was a great find, and at 9-1, which was going to hit late. Another thing that a lot of people were on, you wouldn't have known about it because it wasn't up when we did the show earlier in the week, and you find things. So yeah, that was another good one over there. But yeah, your Kligerman call was good, and it was correct, just missed by a couple of spots, which is how it goes. I'm not ready for the bleep button yet, Rod. But I'm just going to refer to him as the 9 car for today because
ready.
I don't really want to say his name. So the 9 car top 5 at 4-1 has JDK. I'm sure is typing right now. You love the pain of betting on this guy, and for some reason I do. I keep coming back to him. It's because you always get good numbers, but it's the type of track where he shows up, he comes out, and he looks good in practice. Top 8 car, right? And you're like, okay. And then he starts on the front row, and you're like, yeah. It is number 9 car time. It was not number 9 car time, Rod. Yeah, and he ended up recovering for 13th, which wasn't a bad finish for how bad his day had gotten at one point. Flat tire. They had to pit under green. He was a lap down for a long time. You're kind of fucked at that point. Fought back for 13th place, which wasn't a bad finish for him, but starting in 2nd place, and you're like, all right, here we go. It was like your Ty Gibbs call out where it's like, boom. Sometimes you can get really good changes in the numbers betting early in the week, which is what we try to tell you. You save some of your budget for later in the week, but I think it's good to get these bets in early. Obviously, bad examples because these didn't cash, but we did get that nice CLV. And yeah, unfortunately, the number 9 car. The next couple of races, Rod, which we'll talk about a lot more next week, but we have 3 races next week with all 3 series, and they're all 3 going to be handicapped completely differently. The Brickyard 400, we haven't raced since 2020. Then Xfinity's also racing on Indy, but they're racing the Super Speedway package. So how we're going to handicap that race, I still don't know. And then the trucks are short track at IRP. So it's, again, not to jump too far ahead of myself, but excited. All that to say, number 9 comes up a lot when we talk about Super Speedway package. So we may talk about him again next week.
I know who I'm not talking about next week, and I don't care what happens, and that's Josh Berry. Josh,
it was
that 15 car.
It wasn't the car, Rod. It wasn't the car. It wasn't the crew chief. It was the driver. Oh, but what the car that had problems all day and sucked ass?
Yeah,
Weird.
that's what I'm saying.
Was it the car or was it the driver? Or I mean, I'm not saying that the driver wasn't an issue too, but I think there's a lot more to it than just the driver.
Well, and so Josh Berry, we talked about how good of a driver he is at Pocono. He proved it in the Cup Series on Sunday. He proved exactly why this handicap should have been the way it was. He outperforms the equipment that he's in. Yeah, of course, some bad things happen, but look, he qualified in 20. I'm looking at it right now. He qualified in 14th position, right? So he qualified well in that equipment, better than Haley Deegan does on a normal basis, but he has to go to the back for unapproved adjustments and just never really finds his way. 27th place. Like, you wonder what would have happened if he would have been able to
When
start.
he was what, 2 laps down in stage 1. I mean, it just, yeah, because they came down for an issue and then they had to come back down. So you never really got to see, but part of that is the car having issues, which is a team issue again. So I don't know. We'll see who they keep throwing in this car throughout the year. I think that there's probably going to be some value spots to jump on it because the car has upside, and we've seen races, and maybe you compare it a lot to the Sam Hunt equipment where we talk about where, when these guys are in it, Corey Heim could get a top 5 or they're going to blow a motor because it's one or the other with them, right? So I don't know. I think we maybe continue to look at the car, but yeah, this bet was just cooked right from the start and never really had any chance.
No, unfortunately for Josh Berry. I mean, I would have loved to have seen what he could have done if he would have started in 14th, but we didn't get a chance to see it. So,
Rod, do you have the beat button handy?
Oh yeah, matter of fact, I do. So give me 1 second as I turn to the right.
Well, first of all, I don't need it yet. So we'll start. I had Taylor Gray at top 3 at 15-1. I got greedy. I should have took the fucking top 5 at 6-1. I went for the big number at 15-1, and he finishes in 5th, just like I think I said he would. Mm-hmm. So that's unfortunate, but great run by Taylor Gray. Rod, I also had in the number 81 car for a top 3. He's now officially dead to me, and I will not be speaking his name for a while. I took him top 3 because I didn't trust him to win the race. This was a great call. He was very fast early in the race, and once again, fucking sucked in the second half of the race. I don't know if they're unable to. This is like that head coach that comes out and the first half is always great, right? The scripted plays are perfect. Everything goes their way. And then the defense changes and they just can't adjust. And I don't know if that's the problem with this car or this team, but they can't, they get worse as the day goes on every single week. So fuck the 81 car. I'm done betting on them for a while. I gave him out a top 3 at plus 225, which looked great for a while. And then you got to fuck delayed. So yeah, he's on the bleep list for a bit, and I won't be speaking his name. Thank you.
Sorry, I got a little beep happy on that one. I loved it. All right, one guy who's not on the beep button, and I said this. I said when I handicapped this, do I think he can win the race? Yes. Is he going to win this race? No, because that's exactly what happens with Justin Allgaier. So I said I am not going to give him as an outright. I know you did. And I know we were all happy for a very, very long time, but Justin Allgaier found a way to do exactly what it was that was going to prevent me from giving him as an outright. But he still finished top 3 at plus 140. Justin Allgaier leads 30 laps of this race. Justin Allgaier, his pit crew, that was ultimately, was it him or was it his pick? I can't remember if he made the mistake on pit road or if it was his pick.
It was the pick crew because the tire just barely got out of the box and interfered with whatever lap car was in front of him, and they called the penalty.
Yep. He had to come back in to run that penalty. If not for that, I gotta believe that Justin Allgaier would have won this race. So absolutely. Yeah, and how ticky tacky of a call was that?
Rules are rules, Rod.
I know. It's like that passenger call. Yeah, that you're like, but did he really tug on that jersey? Like, did that 3/4 of an inch that he had to jump to the left, was that really the difference? But yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it sucks, but that's how it goes. But great call by you on the top 3. It does cash at plus 140. I had Ryan Sieg top 5 at 12-1. This was a great bet. Ryan Sieg comes out fastest car in practice. This number got ballooned way down. You're like, fuck yes, here we go. Then you go to qualifying 7th place, and you're like, let's fucking go, baby. He hung around all day, right? 8th place in stage 1, 5th place in stage 2. He was in the mix. Ends up slipping back a little bit at the end and ended up finishing in 12th place, which was unfortunate. But they start the broadcast. Oh, Ryan Sieg, fastest in practice, qualifies here in 7th. This is a fully prepped SHR car. And bingo. That's what we didn't know going into the week, but we knew that partnership was there. these bigger tracks is where they've been doing it. It was once again fully prepped by SHR. Next time we go to a mile and a half in Xfinity, a couple of weeks down the road, remember that again, because if he's underpriced, we're going to be back on him. I promise you right now, I'm going to be talking about Ryan Sieg these next couple of races because it's Super Speedway package, and I absolutely love him in there. So as soon as Xfinity numbers drop, if you want to place that bet on Sieg to win, I will have him. I had him at 80-1 this week as well, which 80-1 for a Stuart Haas car in Xfinity. Hey, Rod, remind me who won this race.
That was Cold Custard.
In Cole Custer races for who?
A team that is going to no longer be in existence, but
They
yeah,
are going to. Well,
oh yeah, they're one.
So do they? I guess
their Haas prepared car.
Is this still the same team, just with a different name? I don't know. Anyways, but yes, the same team that prepared Sieg's car at 80-1. So yeah, I would definitely take that again as well. So I'll just go ahead and toss that out there.
Well, speaking of Cold Custard, he drives the 00 car, and is that under 16.5, Cody?
000. Does 000 come first? I don't know.
I believe that's about the lowest that you can get. Yeah, that's it.
Either way, it does check in under 16. Just barely makes the cut, under 16.5.
This number could have been set at 1, and it still would have cashed it under 1. And I would have loved that one for sure. But yeah, I thought it would be a different number that was under 16.5. But
he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys you throw in the mix with a number like this.
Well, we said it too. We kind of poo-pooed and we were like, oh yeah, and then Cole Custer can win.
Cole Custer
he's won this already.
But that's the thing, is he can win any week. He just generally doesn't. So, but yeah, good call by you, William Byron. I don't think he let a lap in this race. Not good all day. Yeah, he finished in third place, but he was not a third place car throughout the day. They got lucky on some strategy stuff and got up there, but wasn't the plus 300 to win driver that he should have been for sure. I had Allgaier plus 450. I think the number was right. He ends up finishing in second. He beats William Byron, which you would have thought would be his biggest competition. So I would take that again. Truex at 12-1. We just didn't see it. I don't think he got a fair chance, kind of starting farther back. Kind of sucked. Taylor Gray, 40-1. Fifth place in a fast car. You take that all day. And then Sieg as well at 80-1, which we talked about already. I would play that one again. So Truex probably the only one. But looking back at how fast the 81 was, how fast Sheldon Creed was, how fast Taylor Gray was, 12-1 on Truex shouldn't have been a bad number by any means. He wasn't really up there.
Yeah. I had Austin Hill led a lap. Big Country could not find his way back up to the very, very front of the pack. Unfortunately, started there and lost a bunch of spots, finished 7th in that race. So yeah, it wasn't going to be an Austin Hill day, but there was promise in that one. And I would have done that again, especially at 10-1. Thought maybe late that he'd be able to do it. So
yeah, he definitely, he was in the mix, Rod. What time is it, Rod?
It is time for you to go. Oh no, I'm sorry. It is 1000% Heim time, baby.
Time. Never in doubt, Corey Heim. Something that was in doubt though, Rod. I gave out Zane Smith over Ross Chastain. I laughed at this bet. I said it was ridiculous. And now you're all laughing at me because it was ridiculous, just the other direction. Zane Smith was plus money, which I loved. Was Zane Smith in this race? I still am not sure. He did recover for 20th, which, based on how his race was going, is a great finish. But Chastain was fast and finished in 5th place. Guess I underestimated him a little bit. He just hadn't been getting it done. And then we'll just cover it. I had Zane Smith top 5. This was never, a top 20 barely hit for, he finished 20th, and it probably shouldn't have even finished that high. So big swing and a miss on me on Zane Smith this week in the Truck Series. He just, was nowhere to be found, and it was pretty pathetic, honestly.
Well, look, it was not a bad swing. It was just you swung a little over the pitch. It was underneath what it was, and you tracked
it. The pitch was behind me, and I still swung. I think.
Yeah, well, the pitch count had already died, and you were still swinging. You're like, oh look oh no, the pitch hasn't even gone yet. But yeah, that's right. It's Zane Smith. You're right. Chastain
should have been. He should have been good.
Should have been.
And the McAnally Hilgeman trucks were all fucking fast again. Like,
I know your frustration, but Chastain was not good enough to get better than Christian Eckes. We said it was gonna be the Eckes and Heim show. It was 1,000% the Corey Heim and Christian Eckes show. Both of those guys. Eckes starts on the pole, leads 11 laps. Heim leads 55 laps and wins this race. Grant Enfinger was the only one that came between those two at the end, out of nowhere. Grant Enfinger out of nowhere, throwing himself in the mix.
He cost us some money, Rod, which we'll talk about a little bit.
He did. But Christian Eckes did manage to still finish in third place, safely in front of Ross Chastain to cash this bet. So, yeah, I mean, we knew what was going to happen there, and that was the right bet to take.
Yeah, maybe a little more of a sweat than it should have been, but not really a sweat. I mean, Eckes was clearly the second best truck on the day, ends up with a third place finish after recovering from, they had their own set of pit issues there late that cost him. Actually, I feel like twice they had slow pit stops that cost him and he had to recover from, but did both times, and yeah, luckily cashed that for you. You want to do your next one, Rod, since I already talked about
yeah, you did. Yeah. So I had Ben Rhodes to finish the best in Group C, which consisted of Ankrum, Dye, and Stewie. Look, Stuart Friesen decided to come out and have a good day, so thankfully for him, finished 7th place. And but this is what I said too. I was like, I'm betting against my heart because I love Stuart Friesen, but I'm taking
another emotional hedge that goes the emotional way instead of the hedge way. Hurrah!
Indeed, Friesen finishing in 7th. And then you got to go to 14th for Tyler Ankrum, who, by the way, started in 4th. I knew Tyler Ankrum was going to be really, really good in this one. I just thought Ben Rhodes would be just a tick better. But unfortunately, yeah, for Tyler Ankrum, started 4th but finished 14th. Daniel Dye even finishing ahead of Ben Rhodes. So he finished last in this group, did Ben Rhodes, who started 7th, finished 18th. Daniel Dye starting 5th and finishing in 16th. So, yeah, Ben Rhodes worst in this group, unfortunately. Womp womp.
That's how it goes, Rod. I had Taylor Gray top 5, 3-1. This one cashed. He finished in 4th place. He had his fair share of struggles throughout the day. Starts back in 19th. And then they had some other issue where he went backwards at one point, but fought his way back up there and finishes in 4th place. 3rd place last year, 4th place this year. Top 5 at 3-1 made complete sense. Dean Thompson, top 5 at 11-1. This one had some serious legs. Ends up in 9th place after kind of getting shuffled back at the end there, but he was running inside the top 5 for a while. Also talked about him on the DFS show. He paid out big time there. I need to just stop my week in DFS in the trucks and not reinvest it all into the cup where I've just sucked lately. But Truck Series DFS has been really good to me lately. Dean Thompson was a very key part of that this week. So again, if we could get fucking top 5 or top 10 bets, Rod, I'd place Dean Thompson probably every time we came to a mile and a half or bigger. And again, he shows up with the speed. He has it, and he's there in the mix. At 11-1, I would definitely place this bet again because, yeah, he was there and just finished as outside in 9th place, which at 11-1, you'll take being within 4 spots every time.
Well, I tell you what, that's why they don't give us top 10s. Honestly, if we're going to be completely honest, that's probably why they don't give us top 10s because we'd freaking break them for sure. I had Chris Wright as a top 5 car because truck because we don't get top 10s at 12-1. It's the driver. It's not the truck. That was the one truck he did not get there. He wasn't anywhere near the mix.
Which we saw in 2 cases this week, right? Because Mosack, there was a lot of people, oh, he's in 7 truck. He sucked as well. So, yeah. Unfortunately, both of these quote unquote all-star trucks, not good this week. So, but at 12-1 for betting on the truck, I don't think that it was the wrong thing. Obviously, it doesn't pay out. I get that. And didn't really have a chance all day, but you're betting on the truck. You're taking a gamble there. Wow, this is gambling. That's weird how that works. So, speaking of gambles,
it's supposed to be a lock and everything's supposed to cash that comes out of your mouth, Cody.
Well,
how do you not know
that's why I gave out Corey Heim to win, right?
That's true.
Lawless Allen, top 4 at 100-1. How could this possibly not hit if I gave it out on the show? I don't know. Finishes in 32nd, Rod, but here was the case with the Fords, right? There's not a lot of them, and they're not great. Matt Crafton finishes in 8th place. Ben Rhodes in 18th was the next best Ford. Where was Ty Majeski? Well, he had a problem. Well, fucking surprised he had a problem, right? Because he always has problems, which we'll get to in a minute when we get to your bet. Lane Riggs. Oh, he had a problem. Wow, surprise, because he has problems a lot. And, there's a lot of these other. Ben Rhodes, 18th is not good for him. Crafton in 8th, right? Yes. But at 100-1 for a guy when you only have 2 Fords inside the top 18, I would continue to take that. You get a little more chaos. You get a big wreck like we had in the Cup Series. That quickly changes. And Lawless had some good runs before, so I would take it. Eckes top Chevy. I fucking played this so right, Rod. I gave out Heim to win. I gave out Eckes to be the top Chevy. They're going to finish 1-2. You're going to cash both of these bets. Going to be such a great day. And then we have the pit problem. And then Eckes just cannot catch Enfinger. Enfinger's such a wild card, man. You just don't know when he's going to be good. He shows up, finishes in second place. Eckes has to settle for third, not the top Chevy. Continue to get Eckes a top Chevy at plus 325. You've got to take him. He was clearly the best Chevrolet truck in the field. The fastest, second fastest truck to Heim throughout the day. No question about it. Got screwed by the pit crew. Still recovers, finishes in third place. So I would definitely place this bet again. Great value at plus 325 when the winner was only plus 250. And really, you were looking at hitting both of them until late in this when the finger showed up and screwed us, which is, it always sucks when you get screwed by the finger, Rod, but it happens sometimes.
We got the finger at Pocono. That's exactly what happened to that bet. I don't even want to grace any of that with it because it sucks. It sucks because Christian Eckes obviously was the best out there, and next to Heim, it was.
Yeah, this was the right play, and it just didn't work out by one spot, and that's how it goes sometimes. Maybe we should have taken some Enfinger insurance. I think he was like 10-1. So maybe you play Eckes and someone else. I was just so confident in Eckes, and it wasn't misplaced confidence. It was placed there for a reason, and it was correct until it wasn't.
Indeed. Speaking of misplaced confidence, Ty Majeski. I had him as a top 5 truck. Look at.
I think I laughed at you.
You did.
This play
you did.
out, right?
And I want all.
But he was fast in Las Vegas this year. Make sure we gotta throw a mention about that out there.
Yeah, he was fast in Vegas. So just know you can rest on that. No, look at Majeski qualifies in 6th, finishes in 6th in stage 1, finishes in 6th in stage 2. But look, what's that? It's a piano falling flat out of the. Didn't we give Grant's piano?
Sing us the song. We did. You're the piano man.
You're the piano truck. Yeah, Grant's piano definitely out there fixing that piano that fell on Majeski because that.
We literally gave out the name of a piano repair place in the Pocono area when we were talking about Ty Majeski, and it happened in Rod.
I hope somebody called Grants and was like, "Excuse me,
so.
piano on Pocono track. We need you to go fix it. It fell on the 98 truck. Are you good at
it? It does so often, and it's gonna be so hard not to bet on him next week because we're at a short track, and he should just fucking kill everybody. But let's see what his number's at. That'll be an interesting conversation to have. Winning truck number 10-19, Rod. You're gonna get the first place truck. You're gonna get the third place truck. And you're going to get the fourth place truck at plus 105. Sign me up. Eckes, Heim. That's all you needed. You get Gray in there for some insurance. Enfinger was only one number outside of this, even in second place. So winning truck number 10-19. You're getting both these guys at plus 105. If you pick one to bet on to win the outright, it's a great way to hedge on the other guy. It's a great way to double up, which we did. Obviously, I had Heim as well. But it's just. They keep giving us this to us with this group of drivers you get in this range at this number. You got to keep taking it.
Yeah, and the thing is too, I did the same thing, right? I took the winning truck number under 18.5 at even money. You get the first place, you get the second place, you get the third place truck all out there. And we said that Christian Eckes would be the one to spoil it all for us if it actually did happen that way. But then you just bet on Eckes and you managed to cash anyways. So winning truck number actually hits as well for that under 18.5. I will say, Cody, a lot of people give you the picks, right? A lot of people give you all of their picks, but not a lot of them give you numbers to piano companies that can fix pianos. That's what makes our show different.
Yeah, and JDK throwing out Indies when Majeski got caught cheating. That's when they were cheating. They didn't get caught until Milwaukee, the next race. But yes, they were cheating there, but he's been good even when he wasn't cheating there. It's gonna be interesting to see where his number's at, because if his number is enticing enough, you're gonna have to bet on him because he's always been such a short track guy. Not to get too far ahead of ourselves, Rod, because we did have Corey Heim at plus 250. This was the bet to make. It was never in doubt. He fucking destroyed everyone. Was the best truck throughout the day. Was the best truck forever. He's really fucking good. There was no question he was ever going to win this race, and he did. And then Zane Smith at 8-1. Let's forget that I gave that out. Taylor Gray at 20-1. finishing right there in fourth place. You'll definitely take that. I gave out Taylor Gray to win both races at plus 75,500. Should have just parlayed the double top fives because he did that. So something to think about in the future if I'm big on a guy like that to win both races. Maybe you look at the top five or top tens, depending. Well, I guess you don't get top tens in these lower series, but top five would have been the way to go for sure. But yeah, Taylor Gray did show up in both races, so happy to have him on the card for both of them.
Well, and I told you that I truly believed it was Heim time as well, but I also tossed in Sanchez as my pick too. Starts ninth. He wasn't ever going to win this race, but I still think that was a good bet at plus 750, given the fact that he started ninth. He didn't wind up finishing there. Unfortunately, he finished in 13th. There was problems throughout that. I mean, he's finished in the top 5 or top 10 rather in stage 1, but yeah, just didn't have the truck to compete with all of the big dogs in that race. But still, I think it was a good bet. Cody, did we end up beating our NASCAR?
What kind of a question is that, Rod? Of course we beat them.
How badly? How
this was a close one, actually. We scored 396. They scored 377. So close one, but we do extend our lead. We now have a 304-point lead on the season over our friends at the NASCAR Betting Preview Show. So yeah, shout out to those boys. Their betting picks did pretty good this week. And their fantasy picks did good, just not as good as us because for some reason, Rod, if nothing else, if we've not figured anything else on the show, we figured that out for sure. So I am notorious checking in. Best race of the weekend, I say Xfinity. That's generally the case. And yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I think that probably was the best race. But I think we got 3 pretty good races. Even the truck race was exciting. Yeah, we knew it was going to be Hyman Eckes, but there was still plenty of excitement kind of throughout the day.
Indeed, there was. And there will be when we turn our attention. Oh.
Yeah, we were racing the rain. I mean, 7 laps to go. They stop the race. They get it finished. Then it's raining as he's celebrating on the front stretch. Like, yeah, there was a lot of drama and fun in that.
There certainly was. Long Pond, you put on a good race. Hey, by the way, go check out my friends over there at In Between Media. The Back Road, they were there live. They've got a ton of great stuff live from the track. Seth and Elliot killing it in that space.
Go back our Twitter too, at NASCAR Gambling. Our buddy Gindy was over there again this week, and he was on our X there sharing videos and pictures, some up close stuff. So I know he had a lot of fun there as well. So but yeah, In Between Media, make sure you check those guys out. They always kill it, and yeah, awesome for them to be able to go to that race every year. Sold out. It's a fucking massive track. A lot of camping. It was all sold out. It was jam packed. That's a great place. Puts on a great show. And always excited for the Tricky Triangle. Indeed.
Well, then let's turn our attention to Indy as we go back to the Oval.
The Brickyard 400. Let's fucking go. I'm excited. This is going to be the last race week before the Olympic break, Rod.
Yes.
So, yeah, that is a little bit sad, but we'll soak it up. We got all 3 series in action again. And like I said, it's going to be, yes, we have all 3 series. Yes, they're all in the same city. 3 completely different races to handicap. It's just going to be a big track for the Cup Series with crazy strategy, probably like we saw this past week or today at Pocono. Then you've got the Xfinity Series race where it's going to be the Super Speedway package. How's that going to affect it? Is it going to be Super Speedway style racing? What are we going to see there? That's going to be interesting. And then IRP for the trucks, short track. So fun week. I kind of like it's a fun challenge. It's different. And 3 completely different races we're going to get this week. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Indeed. So we'll do all of that this coming week, and we'll have some fun with you as we always do. But in the meantime, Cody, let's say goodnight to everybody because I know it, or tomorrow. I don't know what it is on your end of the world.
Good morning for some of them listening live right now.
For some of you live right now. I'm glad you woke up with us. Hope your coffee is strong enough to keep you through the rest of the day. But in the meantime, as you begin your day or end your day or whatever it is, let everyone know where they can find you out there as we prepare for Indy this week.
Yeah, follow me over on the X at @Husker_Zeeb. Tons of stuff over there for Sports Gambling Podcast, for the Arena Football League. You can find it all on my X. Make sure you're following that. And if you're still listening, 114 minutes, not 114 minutes, hour and 14 minutes into this thing, go over to our Facebook page, give us a like over there, and help us be able to get to stream over there since we can't stream on the X anymore, except on the one, whatever. All these fucking people hate us, Ross.
They just don't want. I mean, they hate us because they ain't us.
Go subscribe to the YouTube. That's the only place where we're going to be able to stream soon.
Please do that and continue to do that. Love us. We love you. Find me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on. Whether it's here, of course, Sportsbook review is out there as well. And in between media, I'll be back on the back road here very shortly. Arena Football League playoffs are done. Arena Bowl 33 happening this Friday. Check out all the content coming out this week about that as well on theafl.com. But we'll be back for Indianapolis next week or this week, I guess, whatever. It's late. We love you. We'll see you next week. Until then, let's go racing and let it ride.